My mom invited me to a quick dinner with family. When I arrived, she said, "You will pay for your sister's wedding, we have decided." I laughed and was about to agree until my sister said, "If you refuse, you're no longer family to us." I was surprised and said nothing, but instead I made a decision that 2 weeks later destroyed my sister's life. You know what's funny? The moment that changed everything wasn't dramatic at all. It was just my phone lighting up with mom's text, "Quick family dinner tonight. 6 p.m. Don't be late." I should have known something was wrong. Mom never does quick anything, and she definitely doesn't text like that unless she's planning something. But I went anyway because that's what I do, I show up. I'm Harper, by the way. 32, marketing consultant, living my best independent life in Seattle. I've always been the responsible one, the one who pays her own bills, handles her own problems, doesn't ask for handouts. My sister Brianna? Well, she's 26 and still calls mom when her credit card gets declined. So I walked into that restaurant, some mid-tier Italian place mom loves, and immediately felt the ambush energy. Mom was there, dad too, looking uncomfortable as always when mom's plotting something. And Brianna, practically glowing with this massive engagement ring I'd somehow missed hearing about catching the light. "Harper." Finally. Mom's voice had that fake cheerful tone she uses when she wants something. Sit. We have wonderful news to share." I sat, ordered water, smiled politely. Dad cleared his throat. "Your sister's getting married." "I can see that," I said, nodding at the ring. "Congratulations, Bri. When did this happen?" 3 weeks ago, Brianna said, not meeting my eyes. "It's been crazy planning everything. 3 weeks and nobody told me." "Cool. Great. Love that for me." Mom jumped in, her hands clasped together like she was praying. "The wedding's in 2 months. We found the most beautiful venue and Brianna's dress is to die for and—" "That's really fast," I interrupted. 2 months. What's the rush?" Brianna's face went pink. Not pregnant pink. Embarrassed pink. "We just want to start our lives together," she said quickly. "Connor and I, we're ready." Connor. Right. The guy she'd been dating for 8 months? The one who worked at his dad's car dealership and still lived in his parents' basement? That Connor. But hey, love is love, right? "Well, I'm happy for you," I said, and I meant it. Sort of. "So what's this dinner really about? You didn't need to invite me to a restaurant to tell me Bree's engaged." The table went quiet. Mom and Dad exchanged a look. Brianna suddenly became very interested in her breadstick. Then Mom said it. "You're going to pay for the wedding." I laughed. Actually laughed out loud because surely she was joking. But nobody else was laughing. "Wait, you're serious?" "We've already decided," Mom continued like she was telling me they'd decided what to order for appetizers. "You make good money, Harper. You don't have a family to support. Brianna's your only sister. This is what family does." I looked at Dad. He was studying his napkin like it contained the secrets of the universe. "How much are we talking?" I asked, still half convinced this was some weird joke. 65,000, Brianna said quietly. I choked on my water. "I'm sorry, what?" "The venue alone is 30, Mom explained, pulling out her phone to show me pictures I didn't ask to see. "Then there's catering for 200 guests, the photographer Brianna wants, the band, the flowers, her dress, the bridesmaids." "Stop." I held up my hand. "You want me to pay $65,000 for a wedding that I just found out about, for a marriage to a guy I've met twice in 2 months? Your family," Mom said like that explained everything. "Do you think anyone should just assume you'll drop that kind of money? Because I need to know I'm not crazy here." I took a breath. Honestly, part of me wanted to agree. Part of me always wants to make Mom happy, to be the good daughter, to prove I'm worth something to them. Therapy's helping with that, but old habits die hard. "Let me think about it," I said carefully. And that's when Brianna spoke up, her voice sharp in a way I'd never heard before. "If you refuse, you're no longer family to us." The restaurant noise faded. I stared at my little sister, the one I used to braid hair for, who I taught to ride a bike, who called me crying when her first boyfriend dumped her, and she stared back with eyes that didn't recognize me at all. "Excuse me." "You heard me," Brianna said, and Mom didn't correct her. Neither did Dad. "We're asking you for one thing, Harper. One thing. And if you can't do this for your own sister, then what kind of family are you?" I should have said something. Should have defended myself, should have told them all exactly where they could shove their $65,000 wedding. But I didn't. I just sat there, my mind racing, piecing together something they didn't see coming. Because in that moment, watching my mother nod along with my sister's ultimatum, watching my father say nothing, I realized something important. They thought I needed them more than they needed me. They were wrong. I smiled. Actually smiled, bright and genuine. "You know what? You're absolutely right." Mom's eyes lit up. "Oh, Harper, I knew you'd—" "Let me finish," I said sweetly. You're right that family should support each other. You're right that this is important. You're right about all of it. I stood up, grabbed my purse, left $40 on the table for my untouched meal. I'll have an answer for you in 2 weeks. I walked out of that restaurant with my head high and my phone already open to my contacts. Because here's the thing about being the responsible one, the one who handles her own problems. You learn who you can actually count on. And I was about to make a call to someone who'd been waiting 20 years to hear from me. What happened next? Well, let's just say Brianna really should have been nicer to me. Because 2 weeks later, her perfect wedding was over before it started, and I didn't even have to pay a cent. The person I called was Aunt Linda, Mom's older sister. The one we don't talk about at family gatherings. They had a falling out when I was 12. Something about grandmother's will. Mom cut Linda out completely, told us she was toxic and manipulative. But I remembered Linda differently, kind, creative, always encouraging. She sent me birthday cards until I turned 18. I still had her last address. Harper. Her voice cracked when she answered. Is this really you? Hi, Aunt Linda. I need to ask you about something that happened a long time ago. About Mom and grandmother's inheritance. 3 hours later, I knew everything. Mom had convinced our dying grandmother to change her will. Told her Linda was planning to steal everything, put her in a home, abandon her. All lies. Grandmother left everything to Mom. The house, the savings, the stocks. Almost $400,000. Linda got nothing. I have proof, Linda said when we met for coffee the next day. He handed me a folder. The original will. Medical records showing grandmother's dementia that your mother hid from lawyers. Letters. I spent the week digging deeper. But I also looked into Brianna's wedding plans. I called the venue pretending to be a bride. Oh yes, the Morrison wedding, the coordinator said. Deposits down, but the full $30,000 is due in 10 days or we release the date. Same story with the photographer, the caterer, the florist. They'd booked everything on deposits, gambling that I'd say yes. My phone exploded. Mom calling. Brianna texting. Have you decided? Time's running out. Don't be selfish. I ignored them all. Instead, I messaged Connor on Facebook. Asked to meet for coffee. Am I in trouble? He asked when he showed up. Did you know about the whole me paying for the wedding thing? His face went pale. What? Oh. Brianna said her parents saved for it. Said they had family money. I showed him the text. The ultimatum. The breakdown. I told her we should do something small, Connor said quietly. She insisted we needed this big wedding. Then I told him about Mom and Aunt Linda. About the inheritance fraud. About what my family does when they want something. Why are you telling me this? Because you're about to marry into this family. I think you should know what they're capable of. 2 days later, Brianna called me screaming. What did you say to Connor? He wants to postpone the wedding. Just the truth, Bri. You're ruining my life. No. I'm done being used. The day before my deadline, I sent a group text. Family meeting. Tomorrow. 6 p.m. My apartment. Everyone needs to be there. Mom replied, just tell us your decision. In person. Or you'll never hear from me again. They came. All 3 of them sitting in my living room looking annoyed. I had Linda's documents spread on my coffee table. Printed wedding vendor contracts. And a recorder visible on the table. So, Mom said, are you going to do the right thing or not? I smiled. Let's talk about doing the right thing. Let's talk about what happened to Aunt Linda 20 years ago. Mom's face went white. I don't know what Linda told you, Mom started, but she's a liar. Is she? I pulled out the original will. Because this says grandmother left everything split equally between you two. This version is dated 6 months before she died. But somehow, a new will appeared 3 weeks before her death, leaving everything to you. Dad shifted uncomfortably. Brianna looked confused. Grandmother had dementia, I continued, sliding the medical records across. Diagnosed 4 months before she died. You hid that from the lawyers. Harper, you don't understand. I understand perfectly. You manipulated a dying woman and stole $200,000 from your own sister. Brianna's voice was small. Mom's hands were shaking. It was more complicated than that. Linda didn't deserve. Stop. I held up my hand. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to call Brianna's vendors tomorrow and cancel everything. You're going to admit you never had the money for this wedding. And you're going to apologize to Linda. Or what? Mom's voice turned sharp. You'll go public with 20-year-old documents? Ruin your own mother. I smiled. No. Something better. I pulled out my phone, opened my banking app, turned it so they could see. I'm paying for the wedding. Everyone froze. All $65,000. Every vendor, every expense. Brianna gets her dream wedding. Brianna's face lit up. Harper, oh my God, thank you. But there's a condition, I said. The wedding is in my name. I'm the client of record with every vendor. Which means I can make changes. Mom's eyes narrowed. What kind of changes? Guest list changes. Like for instance, Aunt Linda is now invited. Front row. And she's giving a speech at the reception. The color drained from Mom's face. You wouldn't. I absolutely would. Linda's speech is already written. It's about family. About honesty. About what really happened to grandmother's will. Everyone will hear it. All 200 guests, all your friends, all Dad's business associates. Harper, please. Dad spoke for the first time. Don't do this. Or, I continued, you can cancel the wedding yourselves. Tell everyone the truth about not having the money. Take the embarrassment now instead of at the ceremony. Brianna looked between us. Wait, what's happening? Then my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered on speaker. Is this Harper Morrison? Yes. This is Detective Chin from the King County Fraud Division. We received an anonymous tip about potential estate fraud involving a will from 2004. We'd like to ask you some questions. The room went silent. Mom stood up. You called the police on your own mother? I didn't, I said honestly. And I hadn't. But I knew who did. Because Aunt Linda wasn't just sitting on those documents for 20 years waiting. She'd been building a case, consulting lawyers, waiting for the right moment. My phone call had given her that moment. We need to go, Mom said, grabbing her purse. The detective wants to talk to me, not you, I said. Not yet, anyway. Brianna started crying. Real tears this time. My wedding. Everything's ruined. Your wedding was never real, Bri. It was built on money that didn't exist and expectations you had no right to demand. Connor appeared in my doorway then. I'd given him a key earlier, told him to come by at 7. Connor. Brianna's voice cracked. What are you doing here? I've been here for 10 minutes, he said quietly. Listening from the hallway. Harper texted me to come. He walked to Brianna, and for a moment I thought he might comfort her. Instead he pulled off his engagement ring and set it on my coffee table. I can't marry into this, he said. I'm sorry, Brianna. But your sister's right. This whole thing is built on lies. Brianna grabbed his arm. Connor, no, please. You lied to me about the money. You threatened to disown your own sister. You didn't even tell me she existed until 2 months ago. He shook his head. What else have you lied about? He left. Brianna collapsed on my couch, sobbing. Mom stood frozen, the reality of a police investigation settling in. Dad just looked tired. My phone buzzed. A text from Aunt Linda. Detective Chin is my attorney's husband. He's not actually investigating yet. But he will if your mother doesn't make this right. Give her 24 hours to decide. I almost laughed. You have 1 day, I told them. Make it right with Linda, cancel the wedding honestly, and maybe the detective finds out the statute of limitations expired. Maybe this all goes away quietly. And if we don't? Mom asked. Then Linda files official charges, I testify, and everyone finds out who you really are. They left without another word. Brianna stumbled out last, mascara running, leaving her engagement ring behind. I sat alone in my apartment staring at that ring on my coffee table. My phone rang again. You've destroyed your sister's life, she hissed. I hope you're happy. I didn't destroy anything. I just stopped letting you build fantasies on my bank account. She hung up. The next morning I woke up to 17 missed calls and a dozen texts. But they weren't from my family. They were from wedding vendors, all saying the same thing. The Morrison wedding has been cancelled. Deposits are being returned. Mom had caved. She'd done it. But what happened next? That's when things got really interesting. Because Brianna showed up at my apartment 3 days later and she wasn't crying anymore. She was furious. Brianna didn't knock. She had a key from years ago when she used to crash at my place during college. She just walked in at 7 in the morning while I was making coffee. You ruined everything, she said. I turned around. She looked terrible, hair unwashed, eyes swollen, wearing the same clothes from 2 days ago. Want coffee? I asked. I want you to fix this. Fix what exactly? Connor won't answer my calls. Mom and Dad are fighting constantly. Aunt Linda showed up at the house yesterday demanding an apology. Everyone at church is asking what happened to my wedding. Her voice cracked. My entire life is falling apart. Bri, your life was falling apart before I did anything. You just didn't notice. You're such a sanctimonious. Sit down, I said firmly. I'm going to tell you something and you're going to listen. He sat, probably out of pure shock. Connor broke up with you because you lied to him. Not because of me. Mom and Dad are fighting because their fraud is about to be exposed. Not because of me. Your wedding fell apart because it was built on money you didn't have and demands you had no right to make. Also not because of me. You could have just said yes, she whispered. Paid for it. None of this would have happened. And what about next time? When you need a down payment on a house? When you have kids and need childcare money? When does it stop, Brianna? She didn't answer. Mom turned you into her, I said quietly. Entitled. Manipulative. Willing to cut people off when they don't give you what you want. I'm nothing like her. You told me I wasn't family anymore. Those were your words. Because I wouldn't hand over $65,000. Brianna's face crumpled. For the first time I saw actual understanding there. I didn't mean it, she said. Yes you did. In that moment you absolutely meant it. My phone rang. Aunt Linda. Harper, your mother just left my house. She apologized. Actually apologized. And she wrote me a check for $200,000. I nearly dropped my coffee. What? She's selling the house. The one she got from the inheritance. Said she'll split the proceeds with me like the original will stated. Linda's voice shook. I never thought I'd see this day. Did she mention the detective? She said she knows it was a bluff. But that she's tired of running from it. That she wants to make things right before it's too late. Linda paused. What did you do, Harper? I just told the truth. After I hung up, Brianna was staring at me. Mom's selling the house? Apparently. She loves that house. She loves not going to jail more. Brianna stood up, walked to my window, looked out at the Seattle skyline. Connor called me last night. For the first time in 3 days. What did he say? That he still loves me. But that he can't marry me until I figure out who I am without Mom controlling everything. She turned to face me. Was I really that bad? Yeah, Bri. You were. She nodded slowly. Can I ask you something? Would you have actually paid for the wedding? If we'd asked nicely? I thought about it. Maybe contributed something. A few thousand. But 65,000? For a marriage that seemed doomed from the start? No. It wasn't doomed, she said defensively. Then stopped. Was it? You didn't even tell Connor the truth about the money. You built your engagement on a lie. Brianna sat back down, put her face in her hands. When she looked up, tears were streaming down her face, but different than before. He seemed real. I don't know how to fix any of this, she whispered. Start with the truth. Tell Connor everything. Actually everything. Then figure out if you even want to get married or if you just wanted a wedding. There's a difference. A huge one. She left quietly, taking her old key with her. Said she didn't deserve to have it anymore. 2 weeks later, Dad called me. Your mother wants to have dinner. All of us. Including Linda. Is this another ambush? No, he said, and he sounded tired. It's an apology. A real one. Will you come? I almost said no. But something in his voice stopped me. Hey. But I'm choosing the restaurant. The dinner was awkward. Mom could barely look at Linda. Brianna sat next to Connor. Apparently they were trying to work things out slowly. Dad just looked relieved everyone was in the same room. Linda spoke first. I never wanted to destroy this family. I just wanted acknowledgement of what happened. Mom's voice was quiet. I stole from you. I manipulated our dying mother. I'm sorry. It wasn't eloquent, but it was honest. I'm sorry too, Brianna said, looking at me. For everything I said. For how I treated you. I know. We ate in uncomfortable silence for a while. Then Mom said something that surprised me. Harper, I need to tell you something. About why I did what I did with the inheritance. And what she said next changed everything I thought I knew about my family. Mom put down her fork. Your grandmother hated me. I blinked. What? She always loved Linda more. Everything was always about Linda. The smart one, the creative one, the one who'd make something of herself. Mom's voice was flat. When I told her I was pregnant with you, she said I was throwing my life away. When I married your father, she said I was settling. Linda started to interrupt, but Mom kept going. I know what I did was wrong. But when she got sick, when her mind started going, she'd look at me like I was a stranger. She'd ask for Linda constantly. Near the end, she didn't even remember my name. Mom's hands were shaking. So yes, I manipulated her. I convinced her Linda was the bad one. And for 2 weeks before she died, she actually recognized me. Called me her good daughter. The table was silent. That doesn't excuse anything, Mom said. But that's why. Linda's eyes were wet. Mom had dementia, Claire. He loved you. She was just sick. I know that now, Mom said. But I didn't then. Or maybe I did and just didn't care. Dad reached over and squeezed Mom's hand. Brianna cleared her throat. I need to say something too. She looked at Connor, then me. I'm not getting married. Not now. Maybe not ever to Connor. Connor didn't look surprised. We're taking time apart, Brianna continued. I need to figure out who I am when I'm not planning a wedding or trying to impress people or living up to some fantasy. She smiled sadly. Turns out Harper was right. I wanted a wedding, not a marriage. I do love you, Connor said quietly. But yeah, you need to figure yourself out first. I enrolled in community college, Brianna added. Starting next semester. Business degree. I'm going to stop asking mom and dad for money and actually build something myself. I felt something shift in my chest. Pride maybe. There's one more thing, Dad said. Linda, we'd like you to be part of this family again. Really part of it. No more hiding, no more pretending you don't exist. Linda wiped her eyes. I'd like that. Mom nodded. I'm sorry it took 20 years and a police threat to get here. The detective thing was fake, by the way, Linda said. My lawyer's husband played along as a favor. Mom actually laughed. I figured. But it worked. We finished dinner talking about small things. Normal things. It felt strange and fragile, like we were all learning how to be a family for the first time. As we left, Brianna hugged me. A real hug. Thank you, she whispered. For not just saying yes. You're welcome. I really was awful to you. Yeah. But you're trying to be better. That counts for something. 6 months later, I had coffee with Aunt Linda every Sunday. Mom came sometimes, still awkward but trying. Brianna finished her first semester with a 3.8 GPA. Connor sent her flowers for her finals week with a card that said, proud of you. They were taking it slow. Actually getting to know each other. Mom sold the house and split the money with Linda like she'd promised. She and Dad downsized to a condo. Said they didn't need all that space anyway. Me. I set boundaries. Real ones. No more being the family bank account. No more saying yes to things that hurt me just to keep the peace. Last Sunday, Brianna asked if I'd be her maid of honor someday if she ever did get married. Maybe, I said. If you pay for the wedding yourself. She laughed. Deal. My family's not perfect. We're still working through years of dysfunction and hurt. But we're honest now. And that's something. Sometimes the best thing you can do for people you love is refuse to enable them. Even when it destroys everything temporarily. Even when they hate you for it. Because on the other side of that destruction, there's a chance to build something real. So that's my story. I'd love to hear what you think in the comments. Did I handle this the right way? Would you have done something different? If you enjoyed this, hit that like button. And if something didn't sit right with you, please share your thoughts below. I read every comment. Thanks for listening.